Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, every day we get more and more confirmation of who we are and who they are. As you see how every day we're giving them more understanding, more clarity, and they're still doing their best to try to ignore our people and ignore our message. But we know that we're getting through to many, the ones that the Most High has been calling. We're going to take a look at something that you're going to see going on right now, especially as we are moving into our fall feasts. And you're going to see how these Gentiles try to intertwine their bastardized beliefs in with our fall feast days. It's hilarious how they want to ignore the true Israelites. They want to ignore the ones that the Most High has chosen. But they want to try to somehow intertwine the fall feast days to their breakdown of biblical prophecy. As if somehow, trumpets for our fall feast has something to do with the trumpet in the air and the rapture of the church. They talk about Jubilee, how we need to have a debt Jubilee in order to restart the system. They need to just have a Jubilee where all debt is just pretty much wiped clean so that the system can reset and then just continue. See, they love to pick and choose which things they like from our heritage, and in the things as far as like, hey, following the commandments, doing the will of the Most High, cleaving to the true Israelites, nah, we don't want any part of that. They like to pick and choose what it is that they want to acknowledge, and then other things they want to say, oh, well, we're not under the law. We can do whatever it is we want. But that just shows you how backwards these people are, and that's why they're in a situation they're in right now. See, I'm sitting here looking at a lot of these Christians and how they're trying to use the fall feast and, oh, we're almost out of here. I'm ready to go home. We're getting ready to be up out of here. The trumpet's going to blow and we're going to be raptured out of here. When the Most High never made any covenant with these Gentiles in the first place. So we're going to read a little bit today. Got this book here, The History of the Effects of Religion on Mankind, by the Reverend Edward Ryan. Okay, we're gonna probably get into some of these other books. Still getting books. We're gonna, we've been doing so much with these other videos that we're still gonna get into some of these books, because these people back then knew what was going on. They knew what Jubilees was about. They knew about the Israelites and the special relationship that the Most High had with the Israelites. They know that their people pulled, the one that they hold up in such high regard, copied everything from the Hebrews. That there's nothing original about the Gentiles. They don't have original thoughts. They don't have original ideas. All they could do was plagiarize from the true chosen and try to make these ideas seem as if they were their own. We'll get into that also, but just not tonight. So when you understand that their supposed greatest thinkers just copied the Hebrews. That makes you now understand why right now, when the Most High is having the Holy Spirit pour out her spirit to her people, and they're bringing out truths. Now you understand why the other nations are copying what they see us doing. These truths were never given to them. This understanding was never given to the Gentiles. So they had to pretty much wait until the Most High gave it to us in order for them to start to bring things out themselves. But anytime you're getting any of these things from the Gentiles, you're getting it secondhand. And you're getting a polluted version of the truth, because the truth is not in them. That's why all of a sudden you start hearing them talking about ley lines all of a sudden. You get other Gentiles talking about all of a sudden, oh, well, not all Negroes came from Africa. Some were already here. All of a sudden they're talking about these, books being opened and how the Most High hasn't chosen everyone. He's chosen a certain people, but they try to, switch it around to mean the church. But see, they take our ideas, but they still try to twist them to fit their narrative. But they don't go together. Just like trying to use our fall feasts to somehow signal the rapture. These two things do not go together. We're going to read a little bit here from page 95, okay? Talking about feasts and the things that the Gentiles were doing for their feasts as opposed to, what the Most High's children were doing, okay? Moses limited his feasts to 3, while heathens devoted a great part of every year to the celebration of theirs. His festivals commemorated some signal benefits, while theirs were celebrated on frivolous and often on ridiculous occasions. The former were dedicated to exercises of piety as well as mirth, while those of the latter were chiefly devoted to, I don't know what that word is, idleness and debauchery. Now, look at today. Gentiles will celebrate anything. You got a dog day, got a cat day, right? You got all these, my pet day, the 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween, Day of the Dead, Valentine's Day. You got all these frivolous and often ridiculous occasions. Anything. They want to have a party for anything. Labor Day, Veterans Day, anything. That's what the Gentiles do, because but that's in their nature, to want to party all the time. That's what they're here for. To party and have a great time, YOLO, and not care about their soul and not care about where they're going to spend eternity. But the Hebrews, on the other hand, they're living for the Most High. They're living for the Father. So they have specific days that they commemorate. But let's continue. Besides those annual feasts, the Hebrews had other solemn times of devotion and observed every 7th year as a year of rest and cessation from labor. They were forbade to plow, sow, or prune. And what the earth produced spontaneously that year belonged as much to strangers, orphans, and poor as to the proprietors of the ground. The Sabbatical year inspired Israelites with humanity to strangers and slaves, and taught them their dependence on that God, who provided for them so abundantly. So you get that Jubilee year. and you really depend on the Most High you got to have faith that He's going to provide for you so abundantly. Get that sabbatical year, and inspired Israelites with humanity to strangers and slaves, and taught them their dependence on that God, our power. Got to have that faith that the Most High is going to take care of you, is going to provide for you. Now look at what you see going on right now. See, you got a society that's threatening to take away your, your opportunity to fend for yourself in their society unless you take the cure. So you're being taught to depend on their God. Depend on their God, that He's going to be able to give you back your normal. He's going to be able to give you back your normal if you take the cure and you follow their directions. Now, you get ready to look right here, because it's like, hey, our power is like, hey, don't depend on their God. Don't go to Egypt for help. You depend on the Most High. If you have to lose your jobs, if you have to lose your way of taking care of yourself, just know that the Most High is going to take care of you. That was the example for this sabbatical year. What did it do again? The sabbatical year inspired Israelites with humanity to strangers and slaves, and taught them their dependence on that God, our power, okay, who provided for them so abundantly. We know that if you turn away from the system, you turn away from Satan, and the Most High is with you, He's going to provide for you, just like He did, and that was all part of a test. You learn what's important. You learn the importance of your fellow man. You learn that everything belongs to the Most High, and that He's going to take care of you. But you see, the vast majority of the world is still has their eyes on Satan and his system, and we know that it's been the 400 plus years. Their system is on its way out. Now, when you go back and kind of think about Joel 2 and how the Most High, sweeps the other nations off the land, and all of a sudden the land starts to produce abundantly for the Israelites again. Does that not seem like what we are in store for? The land producing, the land, having a sabbatical, having, our time to connect with our power once again. Having our opportunity to, reset the clock and really realize how important it is for us to spend that time with the Father, spend our time devoted to Him, and knowing that He's going to produce for us. He's going to make the land produce so abundantly for us. So let's continue here. Let's read that part again. The sabbatical year inspired Israelites with humanity to strangers and slaves, and taught them their dependence on that God, who provided for them so abundantly. On this year, insolvent debtors were discharged from all debts, contracted to supply the necessities of life. And the great end, of the release, and the great end of the release was to prevent the distressed Hebrew from flying to Gentiles and forsaking his religion. Okay, that's huge right there. And the great end of the release was to prevent the distressed Hebrew from flying to Gentiles and forsaking his religion. This whole thing is about making us not run to the Gentiles and forsaking our religion or our way of life. It's all about that holiness and separation. The Most High doesn't want us running back to Egypt. Doesn't want us dependent on Egypt to save us. And that was a whole big part of the sabbatical year, to keep us from flying to Gentiles and forsaking His religion. He doesn't want us running to the Gentiles and embracing their God and embracing their way of life. Do you not see what's happening right now? How the Most High has separated us. He started that, in March of 2020. And you see how the Gentiles are trying to make it so that, we are dependent upon them for sustenance. We are dependent upon them. And if we want to continue in the system, you got to take the cure. You got to do what it is they say. Just like you heard Biden yesterday talking about how he's losing patience. And he's trying to force people to either take the cure or not be able to fend for yourself, not be able to take care of yourself, not be able to go out and earn a living. Because that's what the Most High, he does not want. He does not want his people flying to the Gentiles and following their God. Their God is money. Their God is, being able to have a great time here, going back to their normal. That's what they live for. They live to have a party and have fun. That's it. That's why they don't know anything. That's why they don't want to know anything. All they want to know is, hey, when are we getting back to normal? That's all they want to know. I just want to watch my football. I want to watch my basketball. I want to watch my baseball. I want my kids to be able to go out and play travel ball. I want them to be able to play Friday Night Lights so I can go watch the game. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the Bible. I don't care. I just want to go out and have a good time. And that's it. And and I want you Hebrews to come do exactly the same. I want you to come and do the same thing. Get over here and sing for me, dance for me, entertain me. That's what you guys are good for. Damn it, don't be reading. We don't want you guys reading anything. Don't be bringing that stuff to my games. Don't be trying to, go out there and make a political statement. I'm here for sports. That's it. You're supposed to be entertaining me, and that's it. See, the Most High doesn't want that. And you hear them talking about the Jubilee. But they want the Jubilee. They love the whole thing about discharging debt and everything else. But see, the Jubilee is all about running back to our power, being separated from the gods and the religion of the Gentiles, being separated from the influence that the Gentiles have on our people. See, that part of the Jubilees, they don't want to talk about. So check that part out one more time. On this year, insolvent debtors were discharged from all debts, contracted to supply the necessities of life, and the great end of the release, was to prevent the distressed Hebrew from flying to Gentiles. And that's it. We have a lot of distressed Hebrews right now. Now it makes sense as to why you're seeing them cutting all the social safety nets, because they want our people to be distressed and have to run to the Gentiles. They don't realize that there's another option. Our Hebrew brethren don't understand that there's another option other than running to the Gentiles. That's why it seems like now it starts to make more sense as to why they are trying to cut off all these safety social nets, because they're trying to cause distress within the Hebrew community, trying to cause distress in the Gentile community also, because they don't want these Gentiles to cleave to the true people of the book. So if they cause distress where all you're doing is worrying about all the stuff that they're threatening to do, you won't chase after the Father. You will chase after their gods. That's what you're going to be chasing after, their gods, because you think that that's what's going to save you. You keeping your job is going to save you and make everything better. So again, it was to prevent the distressed Hebrew from flying to Gentiles and forsaking his religion. So they don't want us following our power. They don't want us connecting with our power again. They don't want the Holy Spirit to be working in our lives. They want to cause so much stress that you won't have time to even be thinking about that. It says, none except Israelites or proselytes of righteousness were discharged from their debts. And this privilege was refused to strangers and even proselytes of the gate. So again, none except Israelites and proselytes of righteousness were discharged from their debts. Only the Israelites had their debts wiped clean. And the proselytes, or the Gentiles, or the converts of righteousness, the ones that were cleaving to the Most High chosen people, they had their debts cleared out. But the strangers, the ones who, hey, I don't care who the real Israelites are, it doesn't matter. Jesus, those people are not going to have their debts cleaned. And they're going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay all that back. You see, so them, and that just shows you a great example of when they try to use our feast days to fulfill their prophecies. They're not even thinking about how these feast days have a certain significance. They have an underlying significance that their people haven't taught them. This is I'm sure as a Gentile who wrote this book, he's totally aware of what the Jubilee really meant and who it was meant for. It's not meant for everyone. It's meant for the Israelites and the Gentiles who were cleaving to the Israelites, the Gentiles who had accepted the truth, the Gentiles who were following the Most High. Not just anyone. So now it makes sense as to why you see, the Gentiles and their actions right now, because they're trying to cause stress. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're causing so much stress that they're going to make you run back to their gods, run back to depending on them to save you. But the whole Jubilee was about staying away from the Gentiles and following your power. And that's what you see going on right now. So the vast majority of the world doesn't realize what's going on. They think that this is, following the Gentiles, that's the only option. Following the way that they set things up, that's the only option. See, it's going to take faith in the Most High to do His will. And so I think this is so important. The sabbatical year inspired Israelites with humanity to strangers and slaves and taught them their dependence on that God. We're going to have to depend on our power. Okay? And that's what this whole sabbatical year was all about. Who provided for them so abundantly. On this year, insolvent debtors were discharged from all debts, contracted to supply the necessities of life. And the great end of the release was to prevent the distressed Hebrew from flying to Gentiles and forsaking his religion. That's what it's all been about this whole time, causing stress in our nation for us to forsake our religion or our way of life, for us to forsake, well, they want us to forsake our connection to our power. I'm gonna go here real quick. Let's go to Joel 2. Because the Most High is going to provide for His people. Let's read Joel 2. We'll start at 16. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breasts. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Remember how they tried to keep the marriage apart. They're trying to keep the bride and the bridegroom separated. Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their God? And that's what's been happening. Where, the heathen have been ruling over us, and it's saying, where is our power? He's not here. He's not going to protect you. But we know that's not the case. We served our punishment. Most High has awakened His people. 18. Then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his people, Behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. Just like the sabbatical year, the Most High is providing for his people. Again, with 19, Behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. Now, this whole sabbatical year was to keep us away from chasing after the gods of the heathen. We would not be a reproach among the heathen anymore, and we will not be. 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. Most High removing them. Why is that? Getting them the hell up out of here. Why is that? Because they're not the ones who get their debts released. The Most High is taking care of, clearing out the debts for the Israelites and the proselytes, the ones of righteousness, the ones that are following the Most High. The rest of them, they got a debt to pay, and the Most High is removing them. 21. Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice, for the Lord will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring, for the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. And the floors shall be full of wheat, and the fats shall overflow with wine and oil. And I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat in plenty, and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, that hath dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed. So you start seeing that, you start comparing that with what you see here with the sabbatical year, and how it inspired Israelites with humanity to strangers and slaves, and taught them their dependence on that God. We haven't had that. We have not been taught that dependence until now. We're really dependent on him even more so, because of the times that we are in. Who provided for them so abundantly. On this year, insolvent debtors were discharged from all debts, contracted to supply the necessities, or you say necessities of life. And the great end of the release was to prevent the distressed Hebrew from flying to Gentiles and forsaking his religion. None except Israelites or proselytes of righteousness were discharged from their debts. And, you got these people today, these Gentiles, who seem to think that their debts, hey, they said Jesus, their whole debt is cleared. They're all good to go. They're ready to get raptured. They don't got to acknowledge the true Israelites. They don't got to cleave to the Most High's true chosen people. They don't got to acknowledge our power. They don't got to acknowledge the things that their fathers have done. They don't have to acknowledge anything. They just get a free pass. And it just shows you how backwards everything is. Because they refuse to follow our power. They refuse to cleave to the Most High's true chosen. And that pride is going to get them killed. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.